Hi, welcome to SCR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're going to take an updated ATS look right now at the Big Ten as of February 22nd. A lot of the teams towards the top of the Big Ten this season have wound up being overvalued, and right now that does look to be the case with Iowa. Iowa had been a generally strong team against their spreads before February, but they've now lost 3 of their last 5 games against the spread, and their last 2 games were ATS losses by big margins. And while they're still, of course, a quality team overall, they do look like they might be wearing down right now just as they're starting to get more respect on their lines, and I'm looking for spots to fade them going forward. I suspect they'll be more likely than not to lose at least 2 of their next 3 games against the spread, at home against Wisconsin on the 24th, at Ohio State on the 28th, and then at home again against Indiana on March 1st. All 3 of those games should have very tight spreads and could easily see final scores close to the closing lines, but all 3 of those opponents are also generally playing very well right now and also beating their spreads a bit more than they're not. So with as overvalued as Iowa has looked recently, I think they'll probably lose at least 2 of those against the spread. Then Wisconsin specifically really came on strong in the middle of January. They went on a run of 7 straight ATS covers. They have lost their last 2 in a row against the spread, but both of those were kind of forgivable, in my opinion. The first one was on the road at Michigan State, a team even hotter ATS-wise than Wisconsin right now. And then the next one was a bad scheduling spot for them as a big home favorite over Illinois. They won that game by 9, but were an 11.5-point favorite. So in general, I think they still look pretty strong ATS going forward. And in addition to the Iowa game, I'm going to be thinking about possibly playing on Wisconsin at Purdue on March 6th. Purdue's a strong team that has nevertheless been pretty sluggish ATS recently, as we've seen, generally overvalued by the market, and they may still be when that Wisconsin game rolls around. Then we have to take a look at Penn State, a team from the bottom half of the conference that's suddenly become a bit of a giant killer at home. They're 3-2 ATS in February, but their 2 February home games were very impressive. Both were outright wins as a big home underdog against Indiana and Iowa. And then their last game was a double-digit straight-up win and an ATS cover as a big road favorite at Rutgers, which indicates that they can also be trusted to even get covers as a sizable favorite against bad teams. So I'm thinking that Penn State is likely to cover at least 2 of their remaining 3 home games against Nebraska on the 25th, Northwestern on March 3rd, and Illinois on March 6th. All 3 of those teams are in the lower half of the conference and not terribly inspiring ATS overall. And Illinois might also be a good fade in their last 2 home games this season, despite the fact that they did cover 4 of their last 5 games in February so far. Their February ATS record is a little fluky, I think. I already mentioned the Wisconsin game. And 2 of their other ATS wins were against Rutgers, a terrible team. One of those covers was just by 1 point, and then the other one was a lucky cover in a game that went to overtime where they were a 6.5-point favorite. So that all adds up to kind of fluky luck to me for Illinois, and they've also been overvalued at home on the year in general. They're 4-6-2 ATS at home, and their 2 upcoming opponents are Indiana on the 25th and Minnesota on the 28th, both teams that have been decent ATS recently, especially against weaker ATS teams like Illinois. And that's my updated ATS look at the Big Ten as of February 22nd.